All right, former Super Eagles striker Peter EJ is live on the program from his base in Sweden at this time. Thank you so much, Peter, for being a part of the show. What are your thoughts about the AFCON draw that was held last night? Talking about how the Nigerian team found themselves in Group C of the tournament, Peter.
Yeah, the draw was, I think it will be favorable for the Super Eagles. You know, we have teams there that is, you call them underdogs, you know, but in football, African football, there is no underdogs. Most underdogs can pull a surprise. So being complacent or being relaxed to say the Super Eagle will qualify just like that without putting effort and hard work, definitely it means we are doing ourselves a disservice. So I believe we've seen the draw. Now is for the technical department to go through these things and see how to help the new handler in order to navigate properly and qualify.
All right, let's take a look at what Group C looks like. Now we can have a confirmation of that in graphics. We were monitoring the draws here, and I mean, it was good to see that the Super Eagles were seeded. They were in pot 1 and were seeded as far as the grouping was concerned. Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania in Group C. On paper, it looks like an easy group, like you mentioned earlier. On paper. But it was good you also did mention that as far as football is concerned on the continent of Africa, it's difficult to underrate any team or think any team is an underdog. Tanzania, I mean, featured at the Nations Cup some years ago under coach Emmanuel Amunike, and we saw how well they performed on that occasion. Uganda are a team you don't want to underrate. You do so at your own peril. And Tunisia, Peter EJ, that was the team that eliminated the Super Eagles at the AFCON tournament in 2021. How do you think the Super Eagles can navigate through this group?
Yeah, Tunisia, let me start with Tunisia, for example. You know, they played the Super Eagles before eliminating the Super Eagles, you know, in the tournament. And we see that if by ranking you will say, okay, Nigeria, Tunisia will qualify, but Tanzania, they might be underdogs, but definitely they have these crafty players, fast players that can pull a surprise at any time. So it depends on the mentality the Eagles are going into the tournament with. And also, we're just in January. The tournament begins in December. So we have about 9 months to prepare. No excuse. The Super Eagles is going with back-to-back 2 African best players, you know, Osimhen and Lukman. And of course, the other players that will complement the team. So it means the Eagles, we have something on the table. So how to put the teams together and make it function properly now is a question mark. But the good thing also, the World Cup game is coming, which I believe the coach will take that as a priority in preparation of the Nations Cup.
Absolutely. All right. Eric Shell has been asked a couple of times, okay, you've seen the draw. What should Nigerians expect? And he's told all lookers to listen that he's not ready for the AFCON yet. His eyes are fixed on the World Cup qualifiers that would kick off, or rather resume in March. Now, with about 9-10 months to prepare for the Africa Cup of Nations, what kind of preparations do you think the Super Eagles would need at this time to scale through that group, scale through the AFCON, and perhaps emerge winners? Because while I was in camp with the team a couple of months ago, these players say they were just within a touching distance, you know, to lifting the trophy last year in Abidjan. They lost it just by the whiskers, and they just want to go to the AFCON this time around and get the trophy again, Peter.
Yeah, for the World Cup preparation, you know, we know every team expects the Eagles to play this entertainment football. But if I'm, in that picture, definitely I will draw in a new mentality of playing more offensive football, more direct football, maybe in the first 45 minutes. Then before we go back to our normal cultural play. Because I believe every team, every team that plays against the Eagles, of course, they want to entertain the crowd. Doing that, they lose, momentum because they want to show. It's like playing against, a big brand. You want to show a lot of things that is out of, what the team planned for the game. So Nigeria can hit anything with surprise. We have faster players. We have Osimhen. We have Lukman from the wing. It's just to hit everything with direct play. From the beginning. I think that we help the Eagles to navigate because now everything expect the Eagles to, go back to the old ways and still playing this tiki-taka, football, trying to walk the ball, just like, what we see other teams play in the Premier League. They want to walk the ball from goalpost to goalpost. Sometimes you hit teams with counter-attack, and direct football.
From your submission, Peter, of course, you are a coach. It's apparent you are referring to the Eagles devising a strategy that would work for them at the AFCON tournament. We saw them devise a kind of strategy at the last AFCON, which was quite defensive. Nigerians were not so happy with the way the Eagles played at the AFCON last year, though they got to the final of the tournament. I'll come back to you, Peter. Let me talk to your former colleague, Sam Soje, who is also live in the studio with me at this time. Sam, glad to have you on the show today. Interesting draws we saw yesterday in Rabat, Morocco. Let me start with Group A before we come to Group C. I know you are itching to talk about the Super Eagles group. But let's start with Group A, where we have Egypt, South Africa, I beg your pardon, where we have Morocco, the host nation, Mali, Zambia, and Comoros. Let's have a confirmation of that on the screen now so we can have a good conversation around this. Morocco are the host nation, and they will be favorites in that group, Sam.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think it's going to be a good tournament, and Morocco has to be a favorite because they're hosting. So we're looking to a very good tournament. Hopefully we can see good football. That group is tough, but at the same time, where we are in football now, this generation now, there's no team that is an easy team. So we're looking for a good tournament.
Absolutely. Morocco, Mali, Zambia, and Comoros. Looking at that group, bookmakers would want to imagine that Morocco and Mali will scale through. But if we saw what Comoros did at the 2021 AFCON tournament, you would want to give them a chance in that group. In Group B, we have Egypt, the Pharaohs, with Esate Mohamed Salah, who is the most informed player in Africa at the moment. We've got South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe. 3 Southern African teams in that group, Soje.
Yeah, when it comes to the initial score, from experience, there's always surprises. But, as a fan, as a neutral kind of guy, you want the best team to qualify. So we would love Egypt to qualify. But this group shows to you that you cannot underestimate any team. So we're looking forward to who comes out of this group. But it's going to be a tough group because we've got some tough teams in this group.
All right. Group C, where we have Nigeria. See that Nigeria is the top team in Group C. Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. All right. In 2021, Tunisia ousted the Super Eagles in the round of 16. Thunder will not strike twice in one place, OJ.
No. I think where we are at the moment, we are very confident with our players, with our team. Now we've got a new coach. I think history won't play any part. Hopefully we can go through. We've never struggled in a group stage when it comes to the national scope. This will not be different. As long as we get our tactics right, I think we've got no problem to come out of this group.
Group D has former champions Senegal, the Teranga Lions, the DR Congo, Benin Republic, and Botswana. While the draws were going on, I was talking to the director of media of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ademola Olajire. I said, let us avoid Benin Republic. I'm tired of the Super Eagles playing Benin Republic. Yeah. We'll play them in the AFCON qualifiers. We're playing them in the World Cup qualifiers. Yeah. We don't want to play them at the AFCON. And thankfully, they are in Group D, a separate group from the Eagles. Senegal, DR Congo, Benin Republic, and Botswana. What we've seen Gennaro Raw do with Benin Republic in recent times, you want to give them a chance to qualify from this group.
I do. But I don't want to be arrogant, but, I promise I'll have to go against you. we are Super Eagles. We don't fear anyone. We want to play. For you to go to all the way and win the trophy, you have to be the best teams. So, you know, I'll go against what you're saying. If we meet anyone in this tournament, I want to believe that with the team that we have, we've got a better chance. With the right tactics that we have, regardless of what happened before, I think we've got a better chance to qualify and go all the way. Hopefully, take the new trophy, as we say.
I wasn't scared of Benin Republic, though. We defeated them 3-0 in Uyo. I was just talking about the fact that I was tired of seeing the Eagles playing Benin Republic, indeed. Let's take a look at Group E, where we have Algeria seated in that group, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. This looks like a group that Burkina Faso and Algeria would walk through on paper, but like we always say, football is like biscuit. You never know where it can crack. I'm
happy you said on paper. You know, football is not played on paper. This is reality. It's going to be a tough competition. You know, this group, it looks weak, but there's no weak team in the Nations Cup. So, you know, this is all the group. Let's see what happens. You know, let's see what happens.
Okay, Group F, the last group, we've got the defending champions, Côte d'Ivoire. I saw an interview with MS Faye where he said if he gets to play Nigeria again, he would want to repeat what he did against the Super Eagles in the final of the competition last year. Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon, Mozambique. That's a tough group, Sam. That's a tough group.
Yeah, it's a tough group, but at the same time, that's a compliment because everyone wants to play against Super Eagles, even when they're not in our group. So, yeah, good luck to them. And we'll see how it goes, but we want to pray that the best teams qualify because it makes the Nations Cup a good tournament. So, yeah, hopefully the best teams qualify from these groups.
All right, before I let you go, Sam, who is the top 4 teams at the Nations Cup? Those 4 teams you think will make it to the semi-finals?
Yeah. To be fair, I have to go with the usuals. You know, first of all, I'm Nigerian. I'm a big fan of the Super Eagles, so I will go with the Super Eagles first. And then Morocco looks a good side. Mali always comes with surprises because of the strength that they have. And I want to put South Africa up there because of the way they've been playing. So yeah, those are my 4 teams. But hopefully, fingers crossed, the Super Eagles will go there just as we did in 1994 when we won the trophy for the first time. This is a new trophy. We have to go out there and win a new trophy.
Okay, Peter EJ is still very much on the program, live from Sweden. Peter, quickly, Sam has just mentioned his top 4 teams. Who are your top 4 teams, those teams you think will make it to the semi-finals of the AFCON in Morocco?
You know, we always, as a Nigerian, you always put your country forward. You know? We are very passionate about the Eagles. That's why we want them to succeed. But emotionally, you know, things might go but you never know. For Nigeria first, of course, Senegal, you know, Morocco, Côte d'Ivoire also, and Cameroon. You know, I think should be.
Okay, before I let you go, Peter, there's been this, you know, divergent conversation around the new manager, Eric Schell. He's good enough. He's not good enough for the Eagles. What are your thoughts about his, appointment as the Super Eagles coach?
Yeah, I thought, you know, I think they vetted his, you know, his credentials and see him is the best, you know, suitable person for that position. And him accepting, you know, the job at this point in time, I believe he has something to bring to the table. Mm-hmm. I believe he has seen, you know, the World Cup, you know, table, and he believes, you know, he can do it. Of course, we are rooting for him and hoping he makes it.
Okay.
You know, Nigeria wants to be the World Cup.
Absolutely. We hope he makes it. Pictures of when Mali lost in the quarterfinals of the AFCON, you know, erupted, where they were pouring water on his head. And someone said, well, we have enough water in Nigeria. And so if he gets to that point, but he doesn't get to that point because we believe Eric Schell will do a good job. Sam Soje, thank you so much for being on the show. Peter EJ, thank you so much for being a part of the program today. Former Super Eagles players live on the program today. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, and as we count down to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, we shall continue to reflect on Nigeria's outing at the tournament in recent years. Since winning the title the 3rd time in 2013, the 2023 edition 10 years ago later would be the first time the Super Eagles will reach the final of the competition. They were indeed close to emerging champions. We saw that happen, but football happened in that very final. The host nation narrowly won 2-1 in that enthralling final in Abidjan. Let's flash back on those moments. All right, that game was a very interesting game, not very interesting for an average Nigerian football fan, but it was a sweet game for every Ivorian who loved football. All right, away from that now, Chairman of the Akwa Ibom State Football Association, Samuel Omor, has visited and inspected the facilities of a newly established football academy in Uyo, the state capital. Omar, who was accompanied by members of the State Football Association, was impressed by what he saw at the KMK Football Academy and commended the management for putting necessary tools and facilities in place for young players to thrive. The FA chairman also charged the players to take every opportunity to build their fledgling football career. The KMK Football Foundation and Academy say they are committed to working with the State Association and government to develop young talents in the state and take football in Akwa Ibom to another level.
The facility is amazing and all the plans that you have. But then again, you can only have this if you have committed staffs, dedicated players who play with.
All right, away from that now, the Nigeria under-19 cricket team, the junior female Yellow Greens, earned a point in the Super 6 clash with England at the ICC 2025 T20 Cricket World Cup in Malaysia. The clash was abandoned due to heavy downpour, and the International Cricket Council confirmed both sides were awarded 1 point apiece. This is the second time that a match involving Nigeria will be abandoned due to rainfall after the group stage clash against Samoa was also called off, as both sides got 1 point each. Nigeria qualified for the Super 6 after finishing second in the group stage behind South Africa following an historic win over New Zealand. South Africa leads the Super 6 group with 6 points, followed by England with 4 points, while Nigeria are third with 3 points, thanks to a better net run rate than the United States. All right, Shenwa Jidagba is a Nigerian cricket writer and pundit. He joins the program live now. Glad to have you on the show. Nigeria now third in the Super 6 Group 2 with 3 points. And there are suggestions a win against Ireland in their last game on Wednesday could give them a chance of advancing. Talk us through this possibility.
Thank you very much, Promise, and super excited to be here on Sports Deck. Happy New Year to you. The very first time I will be on the show. And it's quite interesting to know that the world is talking about the female yellow greens. I said it different fora, that even the inauguration of the American president, the 47th American president, Donald Trump, was overshadowed by the win of Nigeria over New Zealand, because nobody ever saw that coming, that New Zealand, who were semi-finalists at the inaugural edition of the World Cup that happened in South Africa, would get to lose against a Nigerian team who was making a debut. And that New Zealand side had about 6 players who made their debut at the Under-19 World Cup in South Africa from 2 years ago. So for Nigeria to beat them meant that we achieved a lot of feats, and we put ourselves on the global map for the positive reasons. It's quite unfortunate, Promise, that our hopes of playing in the semi-final of the ICC Under-19 Female World Cup has been dashed by what happened on Saturday at the Borneo Cricket Ground in Sarawak, Malaysia, where we were supposed to play England, who finished as Group B table toppers. Because the way they did the Super 6 was that the top in each group will face the second and runners-up in the other groups, because we have a 16-team format, and the top 3 in each group progresses to the Super 6, but they are now split into 2 different groups, which is Group 1 and Group 2. So Nigeria found ourselves in Group 2, where we are supposed to face England and also face Ireland. For Ireland, they were in the same group with India. So they finished third in their own group, I mean Ireland. And so by virtue of that, it meant that if Nigeria had beaten England and had beaten Ireland, would have gotten a semi-final ticket, which is quite unprecedented. But unfortunately, because we had to share points, it meant that Nigeria cannot progress to the semi-final because teams carry over their points. You understand? Teams carry over their points into the Super. And so by virtue of that draw game, it meant that the 4 semi-finalists are now complete. We have South Africa, we have England, we have Australia, and we have India. So the semi-finalist is complete. But what Nigeria is now fighting for tomorrow is that if at the YSD UKM cricket over in Bangui, Nigeria defeats Ireland, which starts at 3:30 a.m. Nigerian time, it meant that Nigeria will have qualified automatically for the next Under-19 Female World Cup that will happen in Nepal and Bangladesh. And that will be the very first time that 2 countries will be co-hosting the cricket Under-19 Female World Cup. You know, just like in Chan for football, where we are having 3 countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, all co-hosting, or just like we are having at the World Cup, that Canada, USA, and Mexico are all jointly going to co-host. So for us, what we are doing now is we are fighting for ranking points. Unfortunately, what they do in cricket is that you carry over what you have in the group stage into the Super 6. And so if you are playing against teams that, you know, didn't qualify for the Super 6, whatever you have achieved will not be counted. Because in cricket, when you draw a game, it's 1 point. But when you win a game, it's 2 points, which is against what you see in football, where you win is 3 points. So for us, we have overachieved by virtue of where we are, that we are setting ourselves a 2028 target. But unfortunately, and coincidentally, permit me to use those 2 words, we are achieving those feats in 2024. Because people did not really get this memo. And this is credit to Mr. Uyapata, President Nigerian Cricket Federation, who has invested heavily in youth development. Because when he came on board on September 21, 2021, the cricket being played across the 6 geopolitical zones. That means 250,000 children will be playing cricket across 6 geopolitical zones. We also want to have top wickets across the 6 geopolitical zones. We want to increase the ranking of Nigeria. All of these boxes have been ticked. So for us, we have put ourselves on the world map for the positive reasons. All
right, Shewan Ajidagba, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the program today. Thank you so much. All right, it is day 2 of the 56th edition of the Molade Okoya Thomas